And everybody, welcome back here. And this is going to be the Swiftie Spotlight of the Week and also our feature interview with our very own Courtney Mims from Pig Trail Nation. And I want to bring her in. So, Courtney, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's so funny because I feel like I have this, I have that sports background. And obviously a lot of people ask me to talk sports, but talking Taylor Swift today and sports is awesome. I absolutely love this. So I'm super ready to talk about this.
And, whenever I had thought about it, I was like, whenever I put this podcast together, I thought there's something that is there that can also be highlighted because sports and music, they go hand in hand with each other. And with Taylor coming into the fold with her relationship with Travis and really her relationship with the Chiefs and with the city of Kansas City, it was something that needed to be brought up and spotlighted because these people also have a voice too. And that's what I want to give as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're totally right there because a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, what is Taylor Swift doing, in sports and what is happening? But we know from in years past and even this year, she's not the only artist that is a fan of the game. You had Eminem being shown at Detroit games, right? Drake is always at sporting events, maybe not the NFL, but the NBA with the Toronto Raptors. And so we've always seen artists get highlighted at different events. And so Taylor Swift, this is not new, but I think highlighting probably one of the biggest pop stars in the entire world is something that should be celebrated and talked about, especially because what it's doing for the game and what it's doing for young women who are getting involved in the game.
Yep. So what was your first experience that really brought you in, not maybe to not become a full-fledged Swiftie at first, but what was that first song that really grabbed you and said, you know what, man, I really like this lady. I love this artist.
So my dad got me into Taylor Swift. That he will tell anybody that. He's been on the radio to talk about that. He's a college basketball coach, and he got me into Taylor Swift. It was her first album, her debut album. He heard her singing on an award show to Tim McGraw, the song she wrote about Tim McGraw called Tim McGraw. Mm-hmm. And he's heard her singing that. And he was like, oh my gosh, I bet my young daughter would love this woman's music. Yeah. And so he eventually bought me the album and her debut album, Taylor Swift, and I fell in love. I mean, it wasn't one song. I mean, if I had to pick one song, it'd probably be Tied Together with a Smile, because it's like for her writing that at 13 years old. I mean, it's such a profound song and will make you cry buckets just listening to her talk about how she pretends to be happy, but she's not really happy. And there's a lot of things going on in her life and she's being bullied. And to me, that at my age, when I was, I've been a Taylor Swift fan for a long time now. When I was 12, right? Mm-hmm. And 13, that really resonated with me. And so I fell in love right then and there. I begged my dad to let me go see her in concert. I was like, Dad, I've never been to a concert before in my life. Please take me to go see Taylor Swift. And he goes, well, Courtney, I can't take you to go see Taylor Swift. She's not performing anywhere. She's too young. She doesn't have anything. And I was like, please take me to go see Taylor Swift. So Rascal Flatts had announced that she was opening for their tour. And I was like, oh my gosh, we got to go see Rascal Flatts. And my dad was like, well, I love Rascal Flatts, so I'll go take you.
That's sold right there.
He was like, oh my gosh, done. Easy money right there. So he bought us front row seats, me and him, front row. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see Taylor up close. She's a nobody, by the way.
It's crazy.
I had her shirt on. I had her little Taylor Swift merchandise. And this woman, I remember, came up to me at the concert and she goes, who's that? And I was like, it's Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift. It's the best artist of our generation. And I'm telling you, I was her biggest, I know there are other fans who have had experiences like me, but I was singing her name from the rooftops when everyone was like, who's Taylor Swift? Who is she? And so my dad took me to this concert, took me front row. And I remember, it's the funniest story. My dad tells it way better than I do. But me, little 13-year-old, sees Taylor. She's this far away from me. I'm front row. I see her.
Holy cow.
And I'm going, notice me. I have your shirt on. And my dad's like, hey, she's her biggest fan. notice her, like, hey.
Mhm.
And she was so nervous. I think she just looked straight ahead the whole time, was strumming her guitar, only
Oh,
her on
man.
stage. She just did not look at anybody else. Like, she didn't walk around the stage. She was like frozen and just sang her songs and then was done and left the stage. And I was almost in tears that, like,
Oh,
people next to me were like,
no.
this girl right here, she's your biggest fan.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, she had one album out. No one knew who she was. I did. I loved her. And so the funny part of the story is that when Rascal Flatts comes out, they're singing Life is a Highway, which is,
Mhm.
one of their biggest hits, Cars, everything. They were singing Life is a Highway. And the lead grab, like, motions to me to get up on the stage. And they let me. They let me
Oh
get
my
up on the
gosh.
stage. No, I know. But my face the entire time was like, I was so mad. I wasn't happy about it. These guys were like trying to get me into the music, and I was like, Taylor Swift didn't notice me. I'm really upset. And
Oh,
and
no.
people would have killed for that opportunity, and I was being a terrible little human being, just so mad that Taylor Swift didn't notice me. And so, yeah, there you go. That's the story of kind of how it all started, and now it's just gotten so huge where we've
Yeah.
been to every concert since, right? So,
Yeah. So my first encounter with becoming, I wouldn't say a Swiftie, but a follower of her work and her music. So my youngest, she had to have surgery, some oral surgery when she was young because she had some dental stuff going on, and so had to do general surgery on her, and got her out, got her home, and one of her favorite songs was "Shake It Off" from the 1989 album.
yeah.
And so I was sitting there and I thought, you know what? I'm going to play this for her, kind of see if it can kind of help, at least comfort her a little bit because that was one of her songs. And so we got home. It's been about an hour or so. And I kid you not, this kid was listening to it. She jumps up and she starts doing the dance and stuff. And she's like 6 years old at this time. And she's just, or I'm sorry, no, she might have been five. She's right around 4 or 5, 6. Anyway, so she's jumps up and she starts dancing. And I'm thinking, this kid just had surgery this morning. How is she up and dancing? And she's like, Dad, I feel just fine. I'm gonna shake it off now. I was like, okay, go for it then. And I just blared the music and she just had all sorts of fun. And that was my first real memory of hearing making a personal connection to Taylor and her music. And I know that there's a lot of young people out there, boys, girls alike, that have had those connections with her because the biggest thing with Taylor is that her music is so relatable
Mhm.
to every person's life because we've all had a similar situation where we've had to deal with either a heartbreak or a setback or somebody just not noticing you, kind of like you at your first concert with her. But you're able to relate with her, and I think that that's what makes her so, and with her charisma, or as the kids call it, the Riz. That's why people love her so much.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, you can find a Taylor Swift song to literally highlight anything you're feeling at that time. And why I felt like I connected with her so much, and so many people my age do, is they felt like they've grown up with her, right? So, like, her first album, I was experiencing everything she was experiencing because I was 13, right? When she wrote it, I experienced it. So then it was Fearless, and she wrote a song about being 15, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 15, and so
Yeah,
right, and I experienced that. I When she went to, you talk about 1989 Red and those albums, I was going through heartbreak a lot, and that was my high school years, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling this, I'm understanding this, and so it just kind of went to that. I mean, to even the point where, like, Lover and things like that. I mean, I was in a serious relationship at the time, and I'm like, oh wow, I feel all these lovely things, and so I felt like I have gone through my seasons of life where she has wrote kind of her seasons of life. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's incredibly relatable just because everything she writes about, I've actually I feel like I've experienced in some way, shape, or form throughout my life. So
Yeah.
it is super relatable. And I think the music, even if you're a dad, right? My dad loves Taylor Swift, right?
Yep.
He will tell anybody who wants to listen that he is always in his Fearless era, and he loves Love Story. He loves You Belong With Me. And that is
Yep.
just his favorite era. And so I think it's relatable for everybody. My boyfriend loves Taylor Swift. He's like, he will listen to her Midnight's album just whenever, all the time, So
Yeah.
I think for people, it's just like, if you don't really like her, I get that. I understand. But there's so many different genres of music that she has crossed and spanned. So there's something for really everybody.
Yep. I think one of the things that a lot of people are really looking forward to, we just had this last album come out, and one of the things that I think a lot of people are waiting to see is that what type of feel good music is she going to be able to produce with this relationship with Travis? Because let's face it, a lot of heartbreak is what has produced a lot of this of her music or setbacks. Now she's in a really good spot in life. She had a little bit, she had the breakup last year and she was just doing her own thing. And this whole Travis thing kind of came about. I mean, Travis has talked about the story on how they kind of came about with her being up in Kansas City and her cousin taking a picture and her, the whole it was on Travis's locker. And it just kind of, progressed from there. I want to see if she can put out, produce some music that is really kind of feel good, because we've seen a lot of setback, but now I think that she's starting to kind of transform into this era of we're going to have some fun and I'm going to let everybody know about it.
Yeah, I think so. As a Swiftie, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you want feel good music, she's already written it. Her relationship, her 6-year relationship with Joe Alwyn, while the breakup, was a little bit interesting. We don't know much about that breakup because it was very under wraps. She did not want it getting out there. I think the Lover album, if you're looking for something feel good, romantic, happy, I love you, listen to the Lover album. She's already written it. She's already wrote that album. That entire album will make you feel good. There's maybe 1 or 2 songs, one about her mother getting told that she has cancer. And that one's very sad. So it's very profound, very great song. And I think she has another one that's a little bit more deeper, but the rest of the album's happy. Reputation, right? Even though Reputation's all about her taking back her reputation, she wrote songs on love songs on there, right? The other songs were just her hating on Kanye, right? She didn't write songs about a breakup on that. She wrote songs about being in love, finding love again. Possibly a cheating scandal, being in those kind of hey, I'm finding a new love. You can look at King of My Heart. You can look at, Delicate, right? You can look at So It Goes. All of those I just named are love songs. So she has written happy songs. She has written love songs. If you actually go look at her entire portfolio, she writes more love songs than she does about breakups. So fun fact for everybody out there, if you want a good trivia fact, Taylor Swift writes more love songs than she does about breakups. So everyone, I know that she's branded herself a little bit around that in the past, but she has written more songs about love and caring about others than she has about breakups. So she's already written that. To your point, do we want to see that? She's already written that. Now, what will she write about Travis? We don't know. Her album that's coming out in April, which is the Tortured Poets Department, I do not think is going to be about Travis. I don't.
No.
The way it looks, the way she wrote it, because she's been writing it for the past 2 years, I don't think it's going to be about Travis. There may be one song that she puts on there about him. Maybe she added one late. I don't know. But I think it's going to be a lot about what she was going through in this 6-year relationship with Joe Alwyn, because we've seen all the happy from that. We haven't seen all the bad parts of that. And it didn't end on good terms, apparently, right? It did not end on good terms. We only know that context clues of like who unfollowed him and what happened. Taylor Swift, when she was with Joe Alwyn for 6 years, some people said they didn't even know she was dating anybody. That's because it was kept so behind closed doors. You didn't see pictures of her and him. It was like he did not want to be photographed with her. He did not want to go out with her. Travis is just like a breath of fresh air on that. He's like, this is my woman. I love her. This is great. She's the best. That is the kind of guy you want, and the kind of guy that you want to see young girls kind of look up to a bit and go, that's a good man right there. A man that opens doors for her. A man that says, hey, back off security. I got this. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's the kind of man you want to see take care of your girls. Of like, I kind of said to my dad, I'm like, gosh, I mean, I think young girls should see that and go, man, that's the kind of guy I want. Someone who respects me, somebody who loves me, somebody that runs up to me after big events, somebody that cares enough to be like, I love you and I'll shout it from the rooftops. So who's not afraid to be seen with me, right? That is a good relationship in my eyes. And so he's a breath of fresh air. I'm sure we'll get some great songs about him. I'm sure we will. Hopefully some funny ones too, like, because I feel like they have such a fun relationship. So I feel like Taylor Swift can play up on that. But this Torture Poets department, if you're like, yes, I'm ready for the Travis Kelce songs, I'm ready for the love songs, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you should listen to all of this album, because you're going to be like, oh, whoa, this is a lot of feelings, because I just get that vibe from it. I don't know, but that's the vibe I get from it.
Kind of going back to what you were talking about with Travis and Taylor and their budding relationship. What's so nice to see too is that this is a guy that is not like you said, it's not afraid of the camera. And in some ways, he's like, hey, bring the cameras over here. I want you to see me with my woman. And he understands the impact that he has on the people that follow her as well. And I think that that's what makes this relationship really work, because he's able to not only address it and live in it, but he welcomes the whole fact that he wants to be able to help empower these women too, and every person that follows Taylor Swift. But he also wants to show that, hey, you know what? This is what a role model is supposed to be like. And I want people to see that. And I think that, you see that with Jason Kelce and his wife, and the way that Mrs. Kelce, their mom and dad because Mrs. Kelce's out in the public spotlight.
Oh,
Dad, not so much. And I think that that's where Jason and Travis kind of get that from and say, hey, you know what? We can take that spotlight, and not only can we own it, but we can make it our own. And that's what it's so nice. And I think that kind of really takes a little bit of the spotlight off of Taylor in a way, where it kind of offsets it just enough for her to be able to be herself. Because, I mean, let's face it, we've seen the videos on social media of Travis and Taylor being themselves. God knows Jason was being himself, because hell, you couldn't even see the poor guy because of the mask that he had on. And I think that the mask finally got home to the kid that he borrowed it from. But you see that he's able to really embrace that edgy, let me take this camera off of you for a second so you can be yourself, and let me take the torch for a moment. And I don't know if she's had that before, really, with a guy that's so charismatic as him.
I think you're exactly right. I don't think she's ever experienced that before in any of the relationships she's had. She hasn't dated an athlete before. And I always say to people, I think it's like the best kind of person she could date, because there's just so much character when you date athletes. I mean, it's like, it's just they're, either they're good people or they're not, but they own up to being themselves, right? Like there's so many guys and girls who are in sports that are just like unapologetically who they are. Whereas if you date actors or musicians, there's like there's things they don't show the public. There really is. And so I think you're totally right about that. He makes her feel comfortable enough to trust him to say, hey, I'm going to be able to talk about you. I'm going to be able to field questions when those reporters ask in press conferences, will the Chiefs get a ring or will Taylor Swift get a ring first? Like he can answer those questions, right? He
Yeah.
can take them with a grain of salt and go,
And he
listen.
has fun with them too.
Exactly. And she needs that to kind of protect her in a way and to kind of make sure that she feels protected in that way. That's why you see her act like she never has before. That's why she can run up to him and go kiss him and not worry about the cameras. There are times where he even points out in certain videos, he goes, hey, there's a camera there. He points them out to her so that she knows in case she doesn't want to do something that she doesn't feel comfortable with being caught, she can. But it's almost like she doesn't care when she's with him. She's like, no, it's fine. And that's kind of, I mean, really telling about how well their relationship has progressed and how good they are together and how good of a match they are together because of how comfortable he makes her feel.
One of the biggest takeaways that I have noticed as this relationship has progressed is the trust, because he is so open with her. There is not a closed page anywhere. He is a very open book. He lets you know, like you talked about, with an athlete, they own who they are. He's very public with who he is, and he is very open and okay with that. And that's where I think some of the relationships that she's had before, where they were very kind of private, we're going to keep our own stuff to ourselves. Sometimes that doesn't convey in a lot of trust. Maybe behind closed doors, maybe so much, but not quite in the public eye. But whenever she lives so much in the public eye, she's got to have that person like him. And that's why, another reason why I think this really, really, really works a lot.
Yeah. No, it does. And I to everyone out there who says it's a PR thing or it's not real, I mean, all you have to do is watch the videos. All you have to do is see how happy they are. And hey, if they're doing it for fake, great. But they still look happy to me. So I think it's just
happy and making money. Who would want to do that?
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, she looks incredibly happy to me. She could have any guy that she wanted. I think Travis Kelce could have his pick of any girl as well, just because of who he is. But I do think that this is like, at first I was like, this is weird. But now I'm like, man, I don't see anybody better for her. And the families work together as well. She loves Jason. His wife are great examples of good people.
Him and Kylie are great. Yeah.
Oh, I love them. I just love them. And the Swifties do too. They're like, Jason, like they love Jason. And so it's like Jason and Kylie, they're great. Donna and her husband are awesome. It's like all of these good relationships. The families work together. Taylor's family, she's big on her dad and her mom always come to everything. Andrea comes to everything. Her dad comes to everything. And so the fact that his parents support him, her parents support her, they like each other. I just think it's a match made in heaven, honestly. Like, I really do believe, people are crazy when I say this, but I'm like, I really do believe they'll get married. Like, really.
Yeah. Can you imagine the reception afterwards at that?
Oh my gosh. The amount of stars there.
Mind blowing.
I just want to be a fly on the wall for those speeches too. I just want to be a fly on the wall for Jason's speech, like.
Oh my God. I'll be his personal attaché the whole time. I mean, I'll just be with him, and Lord, because honestly, that guy over Super Bowl weekend become my spirit animal. I love Travis a lot, but man, Jason Kelce, he's the guy's guy that said, you know what? That I'm retired now. I'm coming off, a really good season. I got a little one on the way. I'm going to go out and have fun with my brother for the week. And then I'm going to come home and be family dad. But by God, just the whole encompassing week of him just become my spirit animal. Going into the dang hotel looking like Zach Galifianakis from Hangover. I died.
He's so great. I mean, truly. You couldn't ask for, like, I mean, if I was Taylor Swift, and this is just me, you couldn't ask for a better brother-in-law, right? You just couldn't ask. I mean, he calls her family now. He goes, on the podcast, he was like, the whole family's here, mom, dad, Tay. And I was like, the whole family? That's great. I mean, he already refers to her as part of the family. So for me, it's like, how could you ask for a better thing? I mean, it's just great. They all work together. It's awesome. I honestly, I will be very sad. I will be very, very sad if they do break up, because I do think I will mourn that relationship more than any other in the celebrity world.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about her impact with the Kansas City Chiefs, the NFL, and the community. And we kind of talked a little bit about this at the start and also before we got on here. She has basically got an entire generation of young people and said, hey, this can be fun. It's pretty safe, and the NFL's constantly working to improve the safety of the sport. I know that, and you and I both know with both of our backgrounds in the NFL's taken their huge lumps with CTE, also with concussions. And there was a lot of people that were really starting to turn away and not play football just for that simple fact alone. Now she has reintroduced the NFL to a younger generation and has reinvigorated a lot of young people to say, you know what? I kind of like this, and I'm going to start watching this more. And now you see dads are having their young kids going and asking them to watch football, and they're just completely just blown away, because I've heard some instances where kids have come up and said, hey, Dad, can we watch football? And they're like, what? Yes, let's do that right now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of situations like that. Like I again, just hearing different stories, I've heard that young women are watching the games. I have friends that are like, oh my gosh, we cannot wait to watch the NFL on Sunday just to see Taylor. And that was this entire season. I mean, all you have to do is look at the numbers, and it shows. I mean, with a growth of what was it? The last number I saw, 55%. It jumped in 55% of viewership this year. That's huge, guys.
Profound.
Usually you're only seeing jumps in viewership. Okay, maybe you got 5% more viewers, maybe 10%. That's pretty good. But 55% is unheard of. That is massive. That's a massive amount of growth. And so for people that I hate to see it on social media, that people are like, I hate it. I think she's ruining football. She's doing nothing to ruin football. All she's doing is giving it more money, allowing it to grow, and especially, like you said, inspire the younger generation. Because now what you've got is girls, and this is funny, there are young girls I know that are like, I want to date a football player like Taylor Swift. Okay, all right, fine, totally fine. Now those young boys who maybe weren't interested in football are like, hey, I'm going to play football because, maybe there's a girl who wants me to play football out there, right? Who knows how it's affecting on that younger level. I know girls are getting more flag football, which is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah. I know young girls are seeing what they can do. Whenever there's a woman on the broadcast, if there's an Erin Andrews on the sideline, they're seeing that. They're exposed to that. They're like, wait a second. There are females who cover this. This is awesome. Like, there is a lot of benefits for young people watching, young people seeing this, it influencing maybe what they do in lives. Yeah. I mean, my silly example of I want to date a Travis Kelce. Hey, you never know, right? Like, that can inspire a young boy to go into the sport that may have not gone into it had he not was like, maybe I want to impress a girl. I don't know. And so to me, it's like, hey, that's a positive influence. The amount of girls in flag football now, positive influence. And even the girls that are getting to have bonding time with their dads. I love that. That to me makes me cry. The amount of dads who have been like, my little girl wants to watch football with me, and I bought her a Chiefs jersey, and this makes her so happy sitting on the couch and watching the game with me. It truly, really inspires you. I mean, I cried during that CeraVe commercial that with the dad and his daughter, and it's a real family. They're a New York family or something, that she wanted to watch football with him because of Taylor Swift. And to me, there's nothing but positives in this situation here for the NFL, for the future of the NFL, for the future of football, even college football. Hey, maybe they'll want to watch college football too. Who knows? I mean, maybe they'll be like, Dad, Travis Kelce used to play for Cincinnati. I want to watch Cincinnati football. Who knows? I mean, it could be kind of something like that. We don't know the trickle-down effect, but we do know that it's been nothing but positive. And seeing her for 30 seconds out of a 3.5-hour broadcast won't kill anybody. all it's doing is helping. So
yeah. This is the Swiftie effect. Okay. Travis Kelce, whenever they've took the numbers through the regular season, and Travis Kelce had a 400% spike on jersey sales for him alone. 400%. This guy was already popular before. He's been popular. When I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base, he was playing for the Chiefs then, and you knew that he was a very vocal, outspoken figure on the football field, and he was one of those guys that you knew who he was and you loved him or you hated him. He was a very black and white guy whenever it comes to that. I mean, just there was no in between. And now he has that huge spike, that he has the Taylor effect. And you started to see that also with other players on the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's where you really start to see the growth in the young people with dads buying, like you said, their kids' jerseys. We live in Northwest Arkansas, okay? This used to be cowboy country. This used to be America's team with Jerry Jones in this area. And Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the Chiefs have obliterated Northwest Arkansas with Chiefs paraphernalia, with Chiefs fans. And they haven't completely eradicated Dallas Cowboy fans. It's not going to happen. But the predominant team in this area now is Kansas City Chiefs. I think some of that also has to do with is starting the bigger spotlight now is with the Taylor Swift effect. It's cool. And that's why everybody's really starting to come out more with that.
I mean, you're right, because if you look at even the numbers, you say the 400% in jersey sales, do you know, there was a huge percent of those jersey sales coming to Northwest Arkansas. We even got something to the station the other day that was like, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, where are they Googled the most? Where were they Googled the most on Super Bowl Sunday? It was actually Arkansas. Arkansas led the Google searches of Travis and Taylor. Kansas City,
amazing.
Arkansas, like that's there you go. That goes to show you right there that this area has grown in terms of Chiefs Kingdom, right? It's Chiefs Kingdom because of and I think you have to say that some of that was Taylor Swift. You have a lot of Taylor Swift fans. A lot of those fans went to the Kansas City concert. I went to the concert that Travis Kelce was at. I was there, and a lot of them now feel like, oh my gosh, that's my team. Now they're all around. I mean, I see it all around here. I watch people walk around with Travis Kelce jerseys and Taylor's version of the NFL sweatshirts and all of this stuff. Listen, I bought 2 jerseys, okay? I'm crazy. I'm part of Chiefs Kingdom now, right? I didn't have an NFL team before. I'm part of Chiefs Kingdom. So we framed 2 jerseys up in our sports memorabilia room because my boyfriend was like, we have to. It's going to be huge. And so I think there is like absolutely, like you said, just the impact of this, the Swift effect is so huge, even in Arkansas. I love to see the fact that Chiefs have just taken over this area. And honestly, it's not too bad that the Cowboys have been kind of pushed out a little bit. I hate to say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cowboys fans.
Just that's what it is. So really quick, I want to put a quick announcement out too. So during Chiefs away games, I'm going to be in Northwest Arkansas trying to get a watch party together with Chiefs fans, getting an area where we can all come together, watch the game, talk, socialize. And I talked to Ty Richardson. I've talked to Chip Souza about this. He said there's a couple of places here and there, but there's not really a real huge organization. And that's what I'm trying to get accomplished here is get Chiefs fans together and be able to celebrate the Chiefs all at the same time. Because listen, Chip said this last week on the interview, we're in the golden era of Kansas City Chiefs football. And whenever you're in the golden era, you have to live in the moment.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do next football season.
I love it. Sign me up. Can I come? Because I would absolutely
always.
Love it. Okay. Great.
Always.
Great.
Might even make you the MC if you're okay with it.
I'll do it. I'll be over here talking with people, chatting it up. I love it. I will absolutely be 100% on board with that, because I think it's such a good opportunity to also meet with other people who feel the same way here. I feel like so many places here are branded Dallas Cowboys, and like I think people need to understand that that's changing, and maybe for a good reason. You know, it's changing, but I think there would be a lot of people who would be interested in that, and even the Swiftie community as well. You could get them together, get them to come out, enjoy a game, enjoy the atmosphere, talk with other fans. You know, I think it would be a really awesome experience for everyone. So I'm 100% behind you there. Let me know when you're doing it.
This could be the coolest part too. You have got an older guy or older lady that knows football, and they're explaining it to a Swiftie fan, and they're connecting. That's what this is about.
Love it. Love it. I have had so many Swifties reach out to me, like personally, and be like, hey, can you explain football to me? And I'm like, absolutely. I would be honored to explain to the Swiftie community what football is, because they care so much about making sure that they know what they're talking about. And so that to me is so amazing for the future of the sport, right? I mean, they are going to be mothers one day, right? Or they're going to be dads one day, whatever it is. And they're going to be explaining these things to their kids. It's just going to grow the sport, and it's just going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. So I love that. I'm so behind you on this. Let's get it rolling.
We're going to get it rolling. Also, make sure if you got any Swiftie fans out there, or people that love Taylor Swift or Kansas City Chiefs football, funnel it to this podcast, because each week we got a Swiftie spotlight. That's a segment. We'll put out tweets of Swifties that love Kansas City Chiefs football or Taylor Swift music. They'll be highlighted on the podcast as well. So that way, if you know what, if you want to get some airtime, I'm right here and I'm your guy for it.
I love it. I'm going to let them know. I'll put a tweet out for all the Swifties out there. You don't have to look hard. They're all over the place.
They are. Well, Courtney, I'm going to get you out of here, and thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really nice because, we've talked a little sports, but we've talked a lot of music too. Oh, one last thing before you get out of here. You had mentioned something about New York City, and I wanted to expand on that real quick.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we have a Swiftie group. It's based out of like New York City, and I'm a part of that group. And in that group, I'm not like the president or anything, so don't think I'm that cool, but they do refer to me as the OG Swiftie, like the original gangster Swiftie. The reason for that is the story I told you guys at the beginning of the podcast, but they always refer to me on like Swiftie lore, like, Courtney, do you remember when she was back? And I'm like, yes, I do. I will get you the Swiftie, like I will get you the history. And I'm like the Swift historian over here, and I have all these old pictures that I share to the group all the time of like when we, because I went to go see her when she was really young and when she was first starting up. And so they love the old pictures that I share and all of that I've taken on my digital camera. So again, I was a crazy Swiftie from the beginning. Everyone knows. My friends up in New York laugh at me all the time because they're like, listen, they meet Swifties all the time. They're like, listen, we love you, and we bet you're a Swiftie, but we know someone who is like 100 times more Swiftie than you. and I just appreciate that. I appreciate the love. So, I might be an expert on sports, but I'm also an expert on Taylor Swift. So.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'll get you out of here. Make sure everybody to tune in each Monday at 1:30 for the broadcast of the Red and Gold Kingdom, this podcast right here. So make sure to tune in each Monday. You can also follow us on all the platforms below on Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music, and also on Amazon Music. You can listen to all those. You can watch the videos, the show on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. So I've got this whole thing covered. So if you can't find me, it's not on me. It's on y'all. So, but everybody take care. Courtney, thank you again for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. It was so much fun. I can't wait to see where this podcast goes and to connect with more Chiefs fans.
Great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, y'all take care, and we'll be back in just a moment.